because I mentor a lot of people around the world, and I want to inspire them to go back to their colleges or their communities and actually give back and not just, create a bunch of success and then just keep it with themselves. So is that okay for me to do?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, let's get down to it. Let's kind of lay the expectations out. First of all, like you said, my name is Edmund Lee. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, but I actually have sat in these same chairs. I went to FAMU as well, master's degree, SBI student, all that good jazz. Before we get going, I'm gonna ask you all some questions. First, what did you all expect coming in? When you hear that you have a speaker and he's coming up, I want y'all to be real with me, okay? I want you to tell me, what did you all think when you heard you had a speaker, or what are you thinking right now? What's your expectations? Right there, back? Okay.
Well, she told us to do the exercise Tuesday that you, like, as far as the questions on legacy.
Okay.
So I was thinking, like, what type of legacy is he trying to leave?
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I figured that you would start off like saying that there's like a lack of generational wealth building among Black people, and then talk about how that can be changed and why it needs to be changed and how we can do that.
Okay. Anybody else? It's a different group than the early one. The early one was like, man, I thought it was gonna be boring. The regular, oh man, you talking about yourself, sounding all good, but nothing for us. That y'all thought that too a little bit?
No, because she don't really get ready.
She don't get down like that, right?
Thank you, girl.
All right. She's out. Okay. Rude. All right. So anyway, let me lay it down a little bit. So we're not about to get into that. We're not about to have it just be all about me. It's not about to be boring in here. I was the guy in class that was bored easily. And I'll tell you a little bit about my family walk, but I pledged a fraternity that's very quiet and mild-mannered. It's called Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Y'all heard of them? So I'm very quiet and shy, right? So if I say anything that's a little, it is what it is. Y'all grown, right? Anybody here not grown? Good, got that shit out of the way. All right, so let's get started. So let me tell you a little bit about this little journey at SBI. And first, let me ask a couple questions. How many of y'all want to be entrepreneurs? How many of you are already entrepreneurs? Okay, all right. What are some of the things you all doing?
Me and my mother own a hair salon, and I just started selling my own brand lashes and things like that. And I'm in talks with things on makeup and stuff like that. So that's what I'm
Sweet.
doing right now.
Okay, I love that. Good stuff.
Party organizer, party promoter,
Okay, where you from?
Argentina,
Argentina.
Tell them
Good.
how many people come to your party that
Yeah.
you go during New Year's.
like 5,000.
5,000. Wow. Here in Tallahassee? 5,000 people in Tallahassee. So what? In your city, in Argentina?
Yeah.
How old you gotta be? How old you gotta be? How old do you have to be to go? The age?
18 legally. But
I was about to come down and kick it with you. I don't know about 18, no. Anybody else? Okay. All right, so cool. I was actually an entrepreneur at 5 years old. That was when I first started my little candy station and learned a little bit about entrepreneurship. My dad was also a photographer who owned his own studio. So let me get to a little bit so I can explain to you. Anybody come from a big family here? Anybody from the inner city? Anybody have a hardworking mom, single moms? Anybody? Okay, so that's a little bit about my story. I'm from Detroit, Michigan originally, and I live in Memphis, Texas. I've lived in Texas. I live in Memphis, Tennessee. I came down here, and I wasn't really supposed to be in the 5-year MBA program. I got in it, but I didn't have a high ACT score. I was bored easily. It wasn't that I wasn't smart. It's just that I got bored easily because I am very right brain. Everybody understand what right brain means? Yeah. So when I got down here, I actually had to apply, and they had this thing called the Challenge Program. So they told me that when I got down here, because my ACT scores weren't so high, I actually came down with another person who they really wanted in SBI, and so they really wanted her. So her mom was like, "Well, why don't you, can you have her friend come in?" And we're like, "Well, well, here's what we do. If you get a 3.0 your first semester, we'll keep you in the 5-year program." I don't think they have that anymore. But I was like, all right, cool. So I was focused. And my mom gave me a phone call, like when I first got down here. She was like, I was like, yeah, it's great. It's going, it's live, blah, blah, blah. She's like, don't mess up my money. Because you're not coming back here. And I said, okay. And I didn't want to go back home. There's a lot going on in Detroit at the time with me and some other stuff. So I didn't want to go back home. So I didn't get a 3.0 though when my first semester. So I went to the office and I said, I didn't get a 3.0, he was like, well, we're gonna have to put you in the 4-year. I was like, well, would a 4.0 work? It was like, what? I was like, yeah, that's what I got. So it was 4.0 that semester, the next semester. And I did this thing called join a fraternity, which kind of hit my GPA a little bit because I was studying so hard. I still graduated something cum laude, almost 3.7. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I did the do in this area. That's all I want you to know. Okay, have fun. And I am an Omega now, a little bit more. I was Q-Dog Omega back in the day. Okay, do y'all get the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all heard of the oil spill?
Yeah.
I created that. Okay, me and my line and the name was one of the things, but I could not do it without my line. My line was 2001 here at Florida A&M, and we were upset that there was this thing called the Guerrilla Thriller and Luau, and it was nothing for the Qs. There was no oil here before that. We didn't have oil, we didn't have anything. And the first one was at a little small, like it was a Chinese restaurant, and it was we had one barrel, and could you imagine one barrel with like 50, 60 people? Done. Everybody was done. Okay. I am not advertising underage drinking or anything like that. I'm just telling you what happened. Everybody was 21. Okay, so long story short, we made something out of nothing, and that's really what I'm going to talk to you all about. So I graduated, and then I was like, one of the biggest internships I had was with Pfizer. That was like, you were really the man if you could get with Pfizer, if you can get with Philip Morris. Do they still do stuff here?
Not Philip Morris.
Not Philip Morris? Okay.
Pfizer, yeah.
So high income coming out of school. I had the company card, credit card, all that good stuff. And then I was bored. So I said, you know what? I want to start doing bigger things. I don't want to work for the rest of my life. Anybody want to work for the rest of their life? Nobody? Man, I love this class. So I got into it and I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Anybody read that book? If you haven't, read it. It's old, but it still rings true. So and there's another book called Unfair Advantage that's really good too, by Robert Kiyosaki. So I got into real estate. So I started flipping real estate, and I was making around $30,000 a month. Okay, flipping real estate. Then I got bored, and I said I want to start renting out cars. So I started renting out high-end luxury vehicles. I was the guy at All-Star games renting out like stretches and people that wanted to ball out of control. I still drove the minivan, the corporate car, because it was free. And I used to pull up the valet, bump it, like, because you couldn't tell me nothing because I knew I had a Benz at the house. But I didn't care about having a Benz because I was renting it out. You see, the most expensive thing a man can own is his ego. Okay, I want y'all to get some pen and pad. I'm gonna drop a lot of nuggets for y'all. So y'all bet you wanna write this stuff down. I'm not here to tell you a bunch of hype and hoopla and talk about me. I'm here to tell y'all stuff that I will guarantee you will never forget this moment or this conversation, some of the stuff I say. That's a hell of a guarantee, right? I'm gonna do it right now because I'm gonna ask you a question that you'll never forget. You kind of like, all right, here we go. Want me to prove it?
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm gonna ask you one of the most important questions you ever get asked in your life. Who are you?
Wow.
Y'all gonna ever forget that question?
No, because in that.
See, we're gonna go deep. Now we're gonna go even deeper. If you would have died today, what would people say about you? In 3 words, what would they say about you? Does it match the assignment that y'all had? See, don't try me. Like a lot of people think you can try me and say, oh, he up here just talking that bullshit. No, we're gonna get real because I wish somebody would have got real with me when I was in school. If you would have died today, what would people say about you? What would God say? What would your boyfriend, girlfriend say? What would your mama say? What would your dad say? Let me tell you something, guys. Just this past weekend, I brought my dad on stage. I speak in events now, and I had a conversation with my dad this year that I've been needing to have since my mom and dad got a divorce. So I'm gonna challenge you all. If you have anybody that you have to forgive or you have to have a conversation with, please have a conversation before they're not able to have it. Okay. So I'm gonna get back to the wealth stuff and the legacy and all that, but I want to let you know that you can really take some of the stuff I give you all and really apply it and change the things that you do. So what I want you to know is it's not too late. So whatever people would say about you, and I'm gonna tell you, when I was first starting in my business, people would say that Ed is never available. My mom would say my son is not my son anymore. He doesn't laugh anymore. He's always go, 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 business, 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 business. The ladies I was dating would say he didn't have enough time for me. People would say he got too drunk when he was out. He done passed out. Like, Ed is smart, but he done crashed cars because he drank too much. If you go on Blairstone, there's a big black mark. That was my truck. Drunk on my birthday, coming back from Bullwinkle's twice. The first year on my birthday, then I did it again the same day, May 31st. Did I learn?
What's my birthday?
Gemini. Yeah, you a little crazy. I gotta watch you. So you definitely not gonna forget this. Now, why am I telling you all that? I don't drink anymore. I would have ended up either dead, or I would end up killing somebody while driving and waking up in a prison cell. Master's degree, making good money, business owner, employees, speak around the world in prison for manslaughter. Because I didn't know who I was. So here we go. We're gonna talk about a couple things. Next question is, who are you? I mean, you got who are you, but why are you here? So why are you on this planet? So I answer the question. So I always like to answer the questions I ask. So if I say somebody asks me, who are you? I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And my goal here is to honor God and give as much as I can to impact the humanity. That's my goal. I didn't know that when I was asked. It sounds good now. But when I was asked, I was like, Edmund? He was like, no, that's your name. African American? No, that's American. No, that's where you from. I'm a salesman. No, that's your job. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I take even one step deeper. Who are you when nobody's looking? That's what we call character. So when you have those 3 words, anybody want to tell me 3 words? What was her assignment she gave y'all?
Yeah.
What is like? Define it. That's what she said. What does it mean here? Okay, I thought she gave y'all the others. I gave her 2 options. One was, if you were to die today, you know, what 3 words? If people could describe you with only 3 words, what would be your code of honor? Okay, these are normally found on shields, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about legacy. Do you know why the Masons have shields? Fraternities have shields. Sororities have shields. You know why? How long can a human being walk this earth? About. Well, if you go to my Facebook, my grandmother just turned 105 yesterday. My great-grandmother, take that back. But let's say 115. That's good to say, about the most. I don't think anybody's lived to 116.
116, yeah, my great-great-grandmother.
Ooh, that might be a Guinness Book of World Records. 116. But how long can a symbol last? Forever. Children can learn symbols. So can people that cannot read. People from all walks of life can learn symbols, and they put you all on the same vibration. I could go meet a frat brother from anywhere, and we can have a quick conversation, and we know the same things. But what we have to do is, what is the code of ethics in your house and with your legacy? See, we have, and when I say we, and people watching this, I want to talk to my African Americans for a second, but I know people from Australia, all over the world listen to me, but it may ring true for you too. Our legacies have been purposely destroyed. So it's tough for us to know, we didn't come from a long castle, but we did come from kings and queens, but we don't really know where. I advise you all to kind of check your ancestry and go to AfricanAncestry.com and find out where you are from. If you're not of African American descent, then go to Ancestry.com. But we have to create then what we live our lives by and what our codes are. So it could be faith, loyalty, integrity. All frats and sororities have these different words, and you all stand on these cardinal principles. So I want you to define yourself. So therefore, when you take a job, when you date somebody, when you deal with a situation, you lead yourself by these words. Okay? Mine happens to be faith is one. Another one is honor. Another one is fun. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it. Okay? I don't care how much money it is. If it's not in integrity, I'm not doing it. If it's not, and my last one is philanthropy. If it doesn't help people, I'm not doing it. I'm not selling Philip Morris. I'm not selling cancer sticks anymore. I got to a point where I said, this is not me. This is not what I wasn't put on this earth to sell cigarettes, but I can use that to create income. And then I can quit and start my own business. I have one goal here today. My major goal is I want by the end of this, I want you all to know that you all are philanthropists and can be philanthropists right now. My goal in life is to create 100,000 philanthropists. And I'm gonna start with you all. How many of you all think that you have to have a lot of money? How many of you all think you can be a philanthropist right now today with the money you have in your pocket? Raise them high. Okay, how many people think that you're not able to do it right now? Why not?
Yeah, time.
Yeah.
Timing?
Yeah, like, and I don't feel like I've figured out myself enough to, so I'm like finding myself. This is
Okay.
point in my life, so I feel like, I need time to find myself before I try to.
Okay. So hold on, I'm trying to find you. How do you find yourself?
Well, I mean, like, not really literally, but like, spiritually.
I got it. Write this down. Write down this word named procession. Make sure I come back to that. I'm gonna show you how to find yourself. Okay? Anybody else why you cannot be a philanthropist right now? Let me explain. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like it does have to do a little bit with money because I think of, well, I like to follow some of them, and like Russell Simmons, I use him as a good example.
Mhm.
He usually gives so much money to people.
Mhm.
So it's just like, I'm nowhere on that level.
All right, so here we go. Y'all ready to get deep again? Yeah. Do not compare your bloopers to somebody's highlights. And also don't create a definition that's not even a definition. To be a philanthropist, you have to give either your time, talent, money, or resources or network to the greater good of humanity. How many of you all can go sing, can go teach a child, can go whatever to help them? That's philanthropy. The reason more of us are not philanthropists is because we think we have to have all this money to do something. Do you know you all are born wealthy just by being American? Seriously, I've been around the world, just having hot water, you're welcome. Just having heat at home, cars, that's like wealthier than 70% of the world. It's not a lack of opportunity here, it's a lack of hustle. Okay, we have everything you need, but it's a lot of fear that comes into that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna talk to you a little about, psychology, but I'm gonna get to some actual financial things you can do to increase your income. Okay? Because I'm the type of guy, remember, I get bored easily. So you can hit me with the deep stuff, but you gotta give me something where I can make some money. Is that cool? All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk a little bit, since she brought up she wanted to find herself. Anybody else want to find themselves or understand purpose? Want me to talk a little bit about purpose? Okay, because there's two, nobody else raising hands, only two of y'all want to know. Y'all, I can do a hangout later then. So purpose, I'm gonna spend 2 minutes on it. So a lot of people want to know this whole, everybody knew why you're here. Did y'all know that? When I asked that question, why are you here? Raise your hand if you had that answer. Okay, so this we're gonna, I'm gonna help y'all out. So we're gonna talk about purpose and we're gonna talk about procession. Now, I'm not an artist, so don't laugh at my bumblebee. That's my bumblebee. Hold on. Okay, so that's a bumblebee. That's a flower. Right? No?
No.
Y'all like, what does this have to do with anything? It has everything to do with everything. I'm gonna explain it why. When this bumblebee wakes up, the intuition that God has given it, what does it want to do? Do what? Eat what? Nectar. Okay? So it's going here for one, is laser focused on his goals, on his dreams, on what his gut intuition is telling him to get nectar. That's me spelling nectar. All right. I'm like a doctor, man. I don't waste time with a lot of the unimportant stuff. Y'all know the word nectar, so I don't need to write it. Anyway, so it's focus. I like to tell people this: praying is talking to God, intuition is God talking to you. That's why a lot of successful people meditate. You mentioned Russell Simmons. I meditate every single day so I can cut the noise off and allow me to just connect with the universe and with God and to be still. Meditation just means being still and being present. Doesn't mean cutting your brain off. That's physically impossible to do, or unless you're a Tibetan monk, it takes a lot of practice. Don't attempt that, but just turn your brain off for a minute and just relax and allow things to come to you. And a lot of decisions that you want to make will be easier, and you can help find, like you said, that purpose. So it wakes up going for nectar, right? So what's happening here though with his feet? What's happening here as it goes to the flower? What's happening all around here? Pollen, right? It's pollinated. And it goes to the next flower, the next flower, the next flower. Do y'all know what happens if bees didn't do this? What happens to us? We would die. So because it's focused on this, its true purpose or its procession, it doesn't even know about it. But it listens to its intuition. It listens to God and it moves forward. See, a lot of times our ego makes us want to know exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it. Look, purpose is just really the constant unfolding of your desired path. Constantly moving forward. You guys are in school to move forward. You may use this for a job. You may use this for a business. You may use this for one connection that you didn't know you were supposed to be in. You feel like you supposed to be in a fraternity. My fraternity saved my life, literally. I didn't join it for that, but it did. So we don't need to always know. Like I said, the most expensive thing a man or woman can own is their ego. Now, what else can help you with your purpose? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about where this happened for me. So I got into my purpose. It came from this word. So I left off on my story telling y'all I was making around 30 grand a month, right? And I had the cars and all that, right? When the recession happened, can y'all guess what happened? Lost everything. 4 houses, 4 cars, Mercedes S550, R500, you name it. I was Rick Rossing it up. And I didn't have nothing, but I was investing. I still had the rental car. I mean, I still had my corporate car, but I had quit my job and I was going full time. So when I lost everything or everything tangible, I chose to lose my inner self and my self-worth. I didn't feel like I was a man anymore. For our 5-year anniversary here, it was a place called Baja's. I don't know if they still have it.
Well, no, they don't. It's lit.
They changed it. Well, for my 5 year, that's when I was rolling in dough. I bought out the bar, everything. You can ask anybody that was a bruh back then. It still is bruh. But I was getting it, and I was embarrassed. See, when we first started losing money, I said we in real estate investors, nobody was out there talking about it. We were all like in the closet with it, like I don't want nobody to know. I was trying to keep my car. They was repoing. It was calling my grandmother, and I remember being on the steps of my house. First house. This was the house. I mean, this was the house, y'all. Came from Detroit. This was the house my mom came down to, proud of her son. The first home I signed on the dotted line. I have made it. I got my master's, and then it's gone. Could you imagine how that feels at 22, 23 years old? And living the life where I could order from anywhere on the menu to nowhere on the menu. I was living off of double stacks, $1.99. Because what happened was when I lost everything, I remember I was sitting there and the sheriff was throwing stuff out of my house. I lived in a gated community, upscale, nobody looked like me, all about 50, 60 years old. I used to be taking out my trash and they would look at me like, why am I there? As I got brands and tattoos, and they're like, son, can we help you? Like, if you want to get some boxes and help me throw this trash out, you can. But they would ask me like, why are you over here? Now, when I got kicked out, and I got Mercedes coming inside of my house. I do a sales job, so I'm always at home. What do you think they thought I did for a living? Sold drugs. Can you imagine the faces? I'm at my worst, and they're at their best. Looking like, the slow clap. That's what they were doing on me. And I'm sitting here like so embarrassed. I feel like I let my family down. I feel like I let myself down. And my self-worth was destroyed. The reason my self-worth was destroyed was because of my upbringing. You see, my mom taught me, or through example with the divorce with my dad, is that if you don't make money, you're not a man. She never said that, but she divorced him because he wasn't bringing home money and he was cheating. She was like, you hold on, player. You can't do both. I already knew. She already beat me to it. Hold up. You couldn't even come with, you see the house we're in? He couldn't even do that one. Like, nah. So I didn't understand this at the time. At the time, I first thought it was my fault. A lot of kids think that. Then I was like, why isn't he here? I went through all these pains, and it still bothered me until like literally this year. And so at that moment though, I was like, I don't even want to tell my mom, because now I can't date. No woman wants a man that has credit issues. And then people get on like, check his credit, girl. Like, and I'm sitting here like, well, not gonna be able to do that. And I started back over and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do what it takes. I'm gonna do what it takes. But I made a vow to myself. Write this down. In order to get what you want, you have to make a vow to you and God. Because God wants to know that you're serious. My vow was this. I said, first of all, I'm never gonna let this happen due to ignorance again. Second of all, if you bless me again, I will give more. I will make my focus about philanthropy. I will go back and I will teach, whether it falls on deaf ears or not. I will give far more than I did now. Those were my two vows. This was 2007, 2008. And God has blessed me tremendously since then, but it wasn't easy. A lot of people see entrepreneurs and they see the greatness and they're like, oh man, I want to. After that, only thing I could do was door-to-door sales. I was selling cable in Texas, Houston, 150 doors a day, 110-degree weather. And I started doing it in Florida. I was in Orlando. I was in Tampa. Anybody from Orlando? I was living in town suites on Orange Blossom Trail. If you don't know what that street is, pick the worst street in your hood where you grew up. That's it. Pimps, players, hustlers, ballers, shot callers, sound like a song, right? That's where I was living, getting up every day, knocking doors, going back. And it was me and a couple partners. And I ended up going to Texas and started back over. One of my line brothers came out. We started building together. Two of my line brothers came out. We started building together, built companies, lost a company. And we were still just, some nights, we didn't have a place to stay. Because in sales, if you don't, you eat what you kill, basically. If you didn't make any sales, you didn't make any money. So I could only eat dollar menu stuff. I used to eat surf and turf. Now I'm just coasting. Like I ain't even get to the turf or the surf. I just was piecing it together. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because I was committed. A lot of people would choose the road of depression. Yeah, I got alcohol played a little part in that area. I won't sit here and lie. And I don't drink anymore because I would have ended up, like I was saying, I would have ended up in a place I didn't want to be. My legacy would have been tarnished by one decision. Let me prove to you how a legacy can be tarnished by one decision. When I say these names, I want you to tell me, and some of these are good legacies, some are interesting. I want you to blurt out words when I say these people's names. Okay? Steve Jobs. Apple, computer, what else? Visionary, genius. Okay. Bill Cosby. Wow.
He was a legend. He was a legend. Legendary.
Okay. Now, listen though. Listen, I agree with you. Bill Cosby is one of the reasons I went to family. And so I'm not saying this as a negative thing. I'm just showing you how decisions can tarnish your legacy. Bill put hundreds of thousands of people through college, inspired millions, but he still has a stain. So what about Tyson? A fighter, champion, okay, little crazy, bankrupt, woman beater. So these are legacy things. So when we make our decisions and matriculate through life, we have to create this. A lot of people think legacy and philanthropy is all about money. Well, let me ask you this. I bet you don't know the net worth of this guy, Martin Luther King. What do you think about with him? Visionary, powerful. One of the greatest humans outside of any religious deity to walk the earth, right? How much money was he worth? Who cares, right? Who cares? Doesn't matter. So now, let me tell you this. I like to focus on creating wealth and looking at it from a holistic point of view of not just what you have, but what you give and who you are. Okay. So write this definition of wealth down. And I'm gonna get back to pain. I didn't forget about it. Wealth is basically the amount of days you can survive without creating another instrument of currency. That's financial wealth. When you get to a point where money's coming in nonstop every year without you doing anything, that's what we call wealth. And it can be calculated in days. So how many people could last 2 weeks without making any more money? 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years. I want you all to create a 100-year plan. Obviously, you may not live to see it, but that's what legacy is about. Without creating another instrument of currency. Personally, your invest. Well, I'm gonna get to the financial stuff. Y'all want some financial tips too? All right, I'm gonna give you some of those. So I'm gonna get through pain, and I'm gonna give you the first financial joint. I'm with you, brother. You like me? That was me. That dude, that was me. Like, come. All right, come on. About this bread. Give me this money. You talking all you made all this money and show me how you do it. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I'm with you. I like him. All right, so let me go through the first thing, the first place you start with creating income. Okay, is first of all, your pain creates your purpose, and then your purpose guides you to here's it. The number one, the first step is your mentors. So let me tell you all what a mentor is and what it's not. A mentor is not a person that gives you advice. Okay, a mentor is a person's advice you follow. A mentor is not your best friend, because see, your best friend is comfortable with your past. Your mentor is comfortable with your future. Your friend loves you the way you are. Your mentor loves you too much to leave you the way you are. Your mentor sees things in you that you're not able to see, but here's the thing. Take advice from people that have the results that you want in that area in which they're giving advice. A lot of people will bleed what I call bleed respect. Bleed respect means because you respect the person in one area, you respect everything they say. People get relationship advice from Lil Wayne. People get like, oh, well, Jay-Z said I should do this. The dude can rap and he's a good businessman. That doesn't make him Dr. Phil. But a lot of people do this. People do this in the frat. Oh, he's the apostle, so he no. You know that, bro. Like, you don't know everything. You see what I'm saying? And we do this with our parents too. Mom divorced twice, but she gonna give you a relationship back. She know what to avoid. Okay, how about you go to a pastor that's been married for 40 years, or a first lady? You see what I'm saying? So now your mentors, if you're going to get financial advice, you want to make sure you get somebody that also is caring enough about your success. Okay? So mentorship, picking a mentor. And a mentor, you don't have to actually know them sometimes. Your mentor, my mentor was Robert Kiyosaki. You guys, let me give you some, brother, this is for you. I'm going to give you some books. Okay? Let me give you some value. Money Mastering the Game by Tony Robbins. Anybody read that? Very powerful. That's going to teach you the A, B, C, D of investing. It's too much for me to cover all of that right now. I am going to give you a theory called Legacy 243. Richest Man in Babylon. It's a good book. My personal mentor, Lou Petrossi wrote the book, The Richest Man in China. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Think and Grow Rich, watching the movie The Secret. These are all things that I recommend. The Power of the Subconscious Mind. So these are a couple of books that you all can start using. And what I do is I turn my car into a university. The car, I think, is the third place where you spend the most of your time. I think the first is the bedroom, sleep. Second one is the bathroom. I think the third is the car. Car might even be before bathroom. So if you're going to be in there, instead of listening to Ratchet all the time, why don't you turn on mix it up with a little bit of Audible. Audible.com is an audiobook company. And you can listen to books while you're riding and you can actually learn. See, what two things that help you create a fortune. One is not what you do from 9 to 5, is what you do from 5 to 9. Okay? The second thing is if you focus on creating checks, you'll make a good living. If you focus on long-term relationships, building long-term relationships, you'll make a fortune. Okay? So I'm gonna get into some wealth principles in it right about now. But let me tell you what happened So coming out of all the loss and all of that, one of the point where I felt really low, like really, really low, was when I asked my ex dad for a hand in marriage. He said no. He said, can you pay for insurance? Something happened to me, can you take care of it? Can you provide? And I said, no, sir. But y'all in love. Well, obviously that didn't work. I'm single now, but not because of the financial thing, because I'm just on a different path from that. But that was one of the lowest points, man. I mean, fellas, that hurt, bro. Like to have that conversation. Woo. Anyway, so fast forward, I got into financial education. I got into learning. I got into creating entrepreneurship. Since then, I've created a movement called the Our Legacy Movement, where we teach people that wealth is possible. This is one of our logo. Our mascot is named Midas. Everything we touch turns to gold. I now speak on stages on how to create your own entrepreneurship, how to create your own company, how to become wealthy. I have an international mastermind, and I'm gonna tell you the price of our mastermind so you can see how much value I've created with me, my partners. I'll tell you what we have right now. We just sold our mastermind at our last event. It was in Miami. It was at the Eden Rock, beautiful place. And our mastermind is $25,000 a person to travel the world with us and go from rich to wealthy. Now, the people that we charge that are obviously making a lot of money, they can afford that. So we're not asking for 25 for people that make 50. You follow me? So I don't want you all to think that. But I'm a person that likes to help people that don't even have that. So I have a free Facebook group, and I have other things that I do to help anyone. So if you go to legacytravelers.com, that'll take you to my Facebook group. I teach philanthropy tips, wealth tips, and travel tips. My passion. So the secret of why I chase this dream of wealth and financial freedom is because I just like to travel. People say, well, Ed, you talk about money. I really don't. I really don't care about money. All I care about is traveling the world. And for some reason, Delta, JetBlue, American, they all want money. So as long as they want money, I'm gonna have to make money. So speaking of that, when we go around these places around the world, we donate. My goal is to create philanthropists. So in Africa, your teacher, we gave money there. We helped them create a well with fresh drinking water. We gave them a library, and they've since talked to us and said that the children always go to the library and they're now reading now. They get excited about it. This was in Kenya. We went to Cartagena, Colombia, and we donated there to the children there. And so that's the key. So philanthropy is number 2. So mentors, number 2, is create a life about giving to a higher calling and a higher purpose. Okay, so that the wealth you create blesses other people. Now, I'm gonna teach y'all how to pimp y'all job. Y'all know how to do that? Y'all wanna know how the capitalism really works? This is not taught in schools, okay? But it's being taught in a school. So we're gonna teach what you call a legacy 243. Y'all wanna write this down. I'm gonna go through the 2, 4, 3. All right. So legacy 243, I'm gonna teach you how the rules of capitalism. First of all, I'm gonna make it make sense for you high level. Anybody know how to play Monopoly? Okay. If you just went around collecting $200, collecting your check every so many time period, would you ever win the game? If you got the worst amount of money is a little bit, because you ever seen somebody get a little bit more money, but they got a lot more ego? Like you rule the world now because you make $20,000 more than you used to, or that you got a job and you didn't have a job. So you got 2 or 3 greenhouses. Do you win the game with 2 or 3 greenhouses? You got a couple of. What does it take to win? You got to buy what? The hotels. Now I'm not being a proponent of real estate right now. I want you to get the parable. Is that you have to keep going up. But guess what? Even when you buy hotels, you're still not Parker Brothers. You're still in the game. That's capitalism. So let me break down the rules of the game and how to win. Y'all want to win? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to show y'all the wealth is possible. So first of all, I asked you this question so y'all will know that I'm talking real. I want you all to tell me $1,000 a year invested, compound interest. That's about $83 a month. what would that create over a 50-year time period? If you invested just $1,000 a year, check her out with the calculator. I like you. So $1,000 a year for 50 years. What would y'all think that is? 10% compounded interest. How many people think that you can truly be wealthy and retire early? Like really, in your heart of hearts, know that you can do it. All right, I'm about to have all of your hands raised after I give you this information. Give me a guess.
You said compounded monthly?
I like that. Man, you and the dude in the blue, man. Y'all like me. I see why teachers act the way they did with me. Let's just say I'm gonna restate it. I'm gonna just say $83. Yes, will be $83 compounded monthly, which would be $1,000 a year. So what would that be? Just give me any random figures. Wild guess. Don't be afraid to be wrong.
Let me
Yep.
just see the first thing that I can guess.
$1,000 a year for 50 years, compounded 10% interest on that.
55,000.
55,000. It's actually 1.1 million. Do you all think that you could put $83 aside when you get your job?
Yeah.
Now, it depends on the job. Now, here's the thing. It doesn't depend on the job. It depends on your asset allocation. So we're going to get into it. So here's the thing. If you know, this is what Warren Buffett teaches, the wealthy invest first and spend second. Poor people spend first, invest last, and normally never get to it. If you knew $83 needs to go to your financial future, then there's no option. You may not stay in a 2-bedroom. You might be in the 1-bedroom. You may not get your house yet. You might get an apartment. But that $83 has to go to investments, getting my compound interest, because why? I want to retire in 5 years or 10 years, 20 years. Okay, so how do we get that number? So let's do the formula. How do we get our retirement number? When you read the book, Money Mastering the Game, they have an app that can help you with these calculations. So you can go through this yourself. But let me just give you the high level. Okay. So experts say that we need 10 times our yearly desired income in order to retire, or in order to be financially independent. When I say retire, guys, I don't mean you being old and you don't do anything. You can work your business. I'm never going to retire. I'm always going to travel. I'm always going to help people. I'm always going to speak. So I mean, you don't have to worry about money coming in. So anybody want to know how we could just get 60 grand coming in a year without working? Okay, so here's what you want to do. So we take your monthly desired income. What do you need per month to live? We're going to say 5,000. I like to say 10, but we say 5 just for number's sake. So write this down. Write down the formula: desired income per month. If you want to really get a real one, I want you to go back and do it and add 30% to whatever your desired income is, just in case you don't use write-offs or you don't own a business, etc. So that's the first one. So we got a number. Everybody got a number? Pick whatever number works for you, whatever you want. But I'm gonna say 5,000 right now for the sake of the example. Okay. So we got 5,000 a month. That's what a year? 60, right? So we got 60. We need 10 times that. We need what? 600,000. If we got 10% of this every year, because we got we're living off of interest, we now have 60 grand a year every single year. It just keeps spitting out 60 grand. Because this is our nest egg. We don't ever kill the goose. The goose is spitting out eggs. You go put in golden goose, that's what you see. That's what the wealth they're talking about. We had to create this. Now you say, well, how the hell am I gonna get $600,000? Anybody thought of that? Or where am I gonna get 10%? Okay, those are good questions to ask. So let's first of all, let's talk about this. How many of you understand compound interest and the power of it?
I think I do.
Compound interest is the key to wealth building. Number one thing. Einstein said is the 8th wonder of the world is compound interest. I'm gonna show you how powerful it is. How many of you are, if I was to say, hey, I'm gonna give you $30,000 a day for 30 days, or I'm gonna give you the equivalent of a penny double every day for 30 days. How many people would take the 30,000? Raise them high. 30,000 every day for 30 days, or the equivalent of a penny double for 30 days? 30,000? How many people say 30,000? How many people say a penny? Brother man in the blue, why a penny?
My dentist takes out before.
Well, be quiet. Be quiet. Anybody that hasn't done it before, you're in trouble. What's your name? What's your name? Joshua. I'm gonna tell you, your behavior is what creates successful entrepreneurs. You have what it takes to do that. It's not always liked in classrooms, but it is admired in the business world. Anybody who's first time want to guess it? Okay. Anybody want to guess what that equals? 5 million. You say, well, what? It went from a penny to 2 pennies, 4 pennies, 8, 16, 32, 64, keeps going. Once it gets to $1, $2, 4, 8, 16, 32. You see what I'm saying? You get to 500,000. It just keeps building. And you can Google it. These are, if you go to Google Images, they have the chart. You can see the full chart. Okay, that's compounded interest. So what we have to do is we have to keep that $83 going, and we have to actually use there's financial tools that can show you how much money you have to put in per month in order to get to where you want to get the time frame. Now we have to talk about asset allocation. So when monies come in, what do we do with it? So let me somebody tell me, when you get $1, where does it go? What? McDonald's? So 100%. Well, let me break it down differently. You said McDonald's, get that snack pack. Man. So let me do it this way. You have 2 allocations that you have to do. One is when your dollar comes in, especially when you get your jobs and careers, how much is going to my expenses, how much is going to my house, my car, etc., my investment account, blah, blah, blah. Then you have to say, from my investment account, what goes to what type of investment? That's called asset allocation. So income and what you do with your cash flow is one, then what you do with your asset allocation. So let me finish this 2, 4, 3, and I'm gonna get into solutions so you all can understand how we can actually take this. Give me the time, somebody.
4:25.
Y'all get out at what, 4:45? Nice, perfect, it's enough time. All right, so we want the 2, 4, 3. The first part is we want to create enough income. Are you good? You good? It happens. Luckily, you're not my mentee because we charge for that. That would have been $5. But anyway, we pay for mistakes and we learn, right?
No,
Did you want to say McDonald's?
no.
Oh, I was about to say, I'm not going to take no money from you. I want you to eat. So I don't want to take no nuggets from you. So the 2 things. One, we all work in order to pay for our lifestyle during our working years. Okay? We can agree to that? Mm-hmm. The second thing we desire, so that's the first desire. The second thing we desire is to accumulate enough assets so that we can one day not have to work if we don't want to, or when we're not able to work, or maybe we're disabled or whatever, that money is still coming in to pay for our lifestyle. That used to be pensions and that used to be 401ks and all that. If I have enough time, write this down. I'm going to explain the history of 401k and what that really is. I want to get that to you. Hopefully I can get to it. So let me speed through this. So those are the 2 things. The 4 challenges. Number 1, inflation. That's what we call the silent killer. When I was in high school, we could get gas for 99 cents a gallon. Yeah, 99 cents. I could put $5 in and I could ride around for a couple of days and be good. I had the 88 Honda with the pop-up tent, tropical blue candy paint. I know, right? Really, I was Detroit for you. But now you put $5 in, I couldn't even make it to the next pump. So what does that do to the person that's still making the same 30,000, 40,000, 50,000? You're not able to go to the boss and say, look, you saw gas. Let me get that gas raised. You know it's hard out here for a player. You need to hook me up. They're gonna be like, you get linear income while cost of living is doing this. Okay? So that's inflation. Second thing is taxes. Bill Gates was asked, man, all these billions, what's your number 1 tip? What have you learned? He said, the United States tax system. That's what I learned. Uncle Sam is like not that uncle you want to go be. It's like that molesting uncle. Like, don't go over Uncle Sam house. You know how Uncle Sam do. You know, like to mess with your personal stuff. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Y'all will never think about when you say Uncle Sam wants you. I'll be like, but anyway, so taxes, right? So employees pay the highest tax bracket and work the hardest. 10, 12, 13, 14-hour days, they get taxed 35% of their income. Why? Because they want you to stay on the plantation. A worker's no good off if you're not barreling the cotton. We don't need you. We want you to be here for 40 years so you can make 40% less than what you're making now. Does that even make sense? I mean, that's like you're not even gonna have $1 for McDonald's. You're only gonna have 40 cents, and it's gonna be $1.40. So inflation is going to cause a rise and increase. But then when we have the taxes, that means from whatever you do from New Year's all the way to whatever you do on Easter, all that money is going to the government. Okay, and I know some of you watching are not Americans, so just bear with me. It's different for every country. But anyway, if you're getting overtaxed in a lot of your money, so if 35% is going there, inflation's going up, how do we cope? How do we just buy regular stuff? How do we pay for the flights to go home for Christmas? How do we, it's like you wouldn't even be able to get gifts, but so we use credit. So debt, that's number 3. Debt is used to keep up with inflation. And a lot of people, you know, a lot of us are in debt in this room, student loans. So you got, before you even get a job, you already owe money. Then you got a house. Then you get a car. So here's the thing. When I get into solutions, write this down. I want you all, I'm gonna teach you all how much you should be paying for certain things or what you should be thinking when you first get your job. So I'm gonna come back to that. So the 4th challenge, this is the biggest one, is financial illiteracy. Just not knowing what you don't know. See, our financial mentors were usually our parents, and our parents knew what they knew. But if you track us back, what, a couple generations, we're not too far from what? Exactly. Couldn't even read or write. So we weren't learning about wealth and investing and all that good stuff. But some people tell me, they said, man, Ed, why you always talk about wealth and money and freedom? And why don't you just go get a job and just be like everybody else? You want all that stuff that's reserved for the white people or the Jewish and all this other stuff. People tell me this, even though I do have mentors that are Jewish and they're some of my best friends. They're cool. But I said, brother, who created mathematics? Egyptians. What continent is that? That's in Africa, right? So what are you talking about? I'm doing something. Like, you don't know who you are. So that's why I asked you, who are you? When you know who you are, it's hard for somebody else to define you. Also, what do you define as success? Is success being like somebody else? Is success working 13, 14 hours? My success is working 2-4 hours a day and giving time. I want you all to define what an average perfect day is for you all. Is it getting up, walking out to the beach? Is it being married? Is it traveling the world? Is it working? Is it getting up, going into traffic, and then getting to a job and somebody telling you what to do and then asking a grown man for 3 weeks of your time in your life? 3 weeks for 40 years, I think it adds up to something like 2 or 3 years of your own life. Like, if you're an entrepreneur for 3 years, you've already maxed out more than what most people will ever see of their own time. To me, that wasn't an option. I tell people like this to make it plain. I say there's 3 types of slaves. One that's on the plantation and think everything is A-okay. Master Lovely, I'm good. I'm gonna be right here. That's not who I talk to. They may hear it, but they're not ready yet. The other one is like, you know, kind of want their freedom, kind of good. Hear it coming, but I don't know. I might get caught. Then there's the other one, like, yo, player, I'm coming. When y'all come through, I'm gone. Like, I'm not. I'd rather die first. That's me. I just tell me I'll learn it. I'll fail. I'll fall, but I'm not gonna stop. Okay. So when you get to that point, the knowledge that I'm giving you all is what y'all want to focus on. You want to focus on your financial education, your path, your financial literacy. Those are the things you want to focus on, because you're like, look, I know I'm not about to work 40 years of my life for somebody else. I don't even know how I'm not going to do it, but I know I don't want to do it. So let me give you the other solutions. So there's 3 solutions. Number 1, we got to minimize taxes. One of my favorite websites is irs.gov. My uncle's website. Favorite uncle. Because on that site, it teaches you stuff about taxes. And I'm gonna tell you one of the easiest ways to find some money. I'm gonna give you a lot of tips in a second on just money and creating income. So number 2 is business income. Guys, if I'm not able to stress this enough, join something to where you're starting to learn how to build a business or create a business. You know, you have to have a business. You cannot win in capitalism without a business. It's called capitalism. So you have to have a business in that society. I wish we taught capitalism, like just the big boy game of it. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, start following the wealthy individuals like Rothschilds, Morgans, Rockefeller. Start looking at their autobiographies and looking at some of the things they've done. And I'm gonna tell you, anybody know who Rothschild is?
Isn't he a billionaire?
No, 500 trillion. Half of the world's wealth is owned by that family. Look up the Rothschild family.
I know Rockefeller.
Rothschild is R-O-T-H child. So you just Google it, it'll pop up. But let me tell you, that means Red Shield. That wasn't even their real last name. They changed it because of the power of the shield. So let me tell you you wanna know how they got that money? Stop me when it sounds familiar. So media is propaganda is how they got paid in the beginning. So Mayor Rothschild, their great whatever, was fighting, with Britain, they were fighting the French, Napoleon, to be specific. They defeated the French. They were resting and they were gonna go back to Britain in the morning. Rothschild, I forgot his last name at the time, traveled back to Britain before everybody. He told the Queen and everybody else that they lost, even though they won. So everybody was panicking, thinking Napoleon was coming to take what was his. So the banks, like I said, stop me when this sounds familiar, the banks started selling their banks to him for pennies on the dollar because they were afraid. Similar to Wachovia selling to Wells. All the stuff that just happened recently, bankrolling the banks. It has happened several times. So when he did that, when they came back and they realized that they won, the level and the value of the banks went sky high. The pound, everything went up. He was just as wealthy, if not more wealthy than the Queen. Google this quote, Mayor Rothschild, I care not who makes, give me control of a nation's money supply, and I care not who makes its laws. We have, as I say, we Americans have some stuff going on with that entity. Google the Federal Reserve. Y'all know the Federal Reserve is not federal, right? See, these are bankers that control everything. Now, I'm not going to go down this dark path because I didn't really want to go here, but I just want you to all know what happened with the Rothschild family. He sent his sons out to create banks in different parts of the world. And when they did that, those banks start running everything. So they fund everything. The Rockefellers, do you know that the Rockefellers, you know they have a Rockefeller statue, I think it's at Morehouse or Spelman, one of the two. You know why? They funded it through an endowment, and they make money off of that. Rockefeller, I think is, if I'm not mistaken, his wife's maiden name was Spelman, and his pastor's name was Morehouse.
Wow.
And so there's a lot into that, and in the whole history of HBCUs, there's a lot of stuff into that. And I'm not gonna get into that right now, especially because I'm recording, but the bottom line is this, there's a bigger game in this game, but all you have to be focused on is the positive side, creating your own business, keeping your debt low, and actually creating your compound interest plan. You're not gonna be able to change all of that stuff, okay? So I don't want you to go out there and start being a radical and all that stuff because it's gonna give you attention that you don't even need to get, okay? So the 3 solutions: 1, minimize taxes; 2, business income; number 3, asset accumulation. You want to create assets. So that means you need to learn. That means you need financial education. You need financial literacy to understand how to create assets. What are assets? What are different classifications? Okay. So now let me give you a couple of tips to make you to increase your income. Number one, let's talk about minimizing taxes. Most Americans, 80% of Americans have their W-4 form filled out incorrectly. Did y'all know that? Do you know what the W-4 is?
Yeah.
It's what? Okay. What is it for taxes? It's telling the government how much to keep from your taxes, right? Most people don't even fill out the second page. Most people don't even know a second page exists.
Yeah.
Exactly. They tell you not to.
Right.
That's where we have to be educated. They tell you not to leave the plantation. Right? Ignorance is bliss. If you don't know, well, don't fill it out. That's to say turn in one page. I mean, that's because we're not educated, or our parents say just put 1 or put 8, 0. That's because we don't know. So what you have to do is understand and learn that form. I have a video out online. If you put in Eric Smith and Edmund Lee, W-4 tax form. If you just put in W-4 tax form, we pop up, I think, like number 2 or number 3. It's got like 20,000 views, and we teach. It's an hour-long training on how to fill out your W-4 and what it is.
What's the title of it again? W-4.
Just put in W-4 tax form in YouTube, and it'll be something that it will say Eric Smith. My name is not in there, but I'm in the video. Eric Smith is one of my partners. It was on his YouTube channel, so that's why I didn't say my name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's nothing wrong. It's all legal. You can also go to the IRS.gov and go to the W-4 withholding calculator. They teach you how to do it, so you can do that. So the average person is overpaying $50 to $500 a month on their own job. Now, mind you, we were only looking for $83, right? See, we already have it. The average American over 40 years creates $2 million in income. If they're creating $50,000, that's $2 million. Where'd the money go? See, all we have to do is, it says wealth is not about how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. Okay? So you have to do a financial game plan. The second thing, so we have the minimizing taxes with the W-4, so correcting that. Then also it's a portion on there on the second page, number 4. It doesn't explain it on there, but that's where you put the write-offs that you get from your business. So we have to understand write-offs, and we have to have a business so that we can also, if you have a business, the government will give you more money. Now, why is this legal? You might wonder, like, why is this legal, or is this an issue? Is this ethical? Let me explain why. The government is saying, look, you have a job. We want taxes. We want as much tax money as we can get. So since you fill out all the things you have, you got kids? Oh, you're going to need money for that, for kids. So we're going to give you a little bit more. Oh, you got daycare? We own that. So we want you to get money over that. Student loans, we want you to pay us back. So we want to give you some money back for that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you're a business owner. That means you're paying for stuff you don't have to. You got website expenses. You're hiring people. That's taxes, taxes, taxes. We want you to be a business owner. We just don't want the employees to figure out that they should be business owners, because we need somebody to work, shine our shoes, work at Wendy's. We need all y'all to do that. I've been at asset protection conferences where I was the only one that looked like me, and I swear I was like, I cannot believe that I'm hearing some of the stuff I'm hearing. Like human talk, about cattle, damn near. How to motivate them, I'm like, wow, really? Just put employee of the month up a week, they'll stay forever. And they'll be so arrogant that they'll even think they're the manager of the customers. You ever met a manager? They'll be manager at home. Like, dude, I know you're a cop, but you're still a cop. Like, you don't run me. You know? But a lot of people take their job into their life and they just become this. Or you ask them, who are you? They say, I'm a cop. I'm a lawyer. No, that's what you do. It's not who you are. So that's why this goes full circle on the stuff I asked you at the beginning. So let me give you a couple other financial tips. One, how many of you all have cars? You got car insurance? Do you have uninsured motorists?
Yeah.
Why?
My mom doesn't make.
Okay, what does it cover?
Oh, I didn't.
Okay. Okay, so let's think about it like this. I'm not gonna tell you to get it or to not get it, because legally I cannot do that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you to call your insurance company and say, hey, brother, man, what is this uninsured motorist? So it covers what? The collision of the car? Is that what it covers? Like if somebody hits you without insurance, it covers the car damage?
Yeah.
Okay, let's think about that. You have to get collision, you have to get liability insurance. If a motorist collides into a car, isn't that collision? I have collision. So it doesn't cover collision. It covers the medical side of the people in the car. But then you say, brother man, Mr. Insurance Man, Obama has me and my family, we all have insurance. Do you give us more money if something happens, or am I already covered? He's going to say something like, this is your decision, it's an optional thing you can carry. That's what he's going to say. Now, liability and collision, you have to have that. And you have to check out what I'm not giving any advice. I'm just telling you to have the conversation. And you decide. Who decides? Does Edmund decide? Did Edmund advise you?
No.
Okay, that's all on you. But I want you to know, do you all know that you can pay less on your insurance if you have 3.0?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you graduate, if you have a master's degree, you can pay less? If your children have 3.0s? A lot of them. You can call your insurance company and ask them what they have is their special, I forget the name of it. But think about it. So let's think about this, guys. Let's say you didn't need uninsured motors because you got a job and your kids are all covered. Let's say that's $27 a month. That's not a lot of money, right? You got your car permit at 15. You live till 185 or whatever. Multiply 27 times 12. Then multiply it times 50, 60 years. That's over like 20 grand. That's not getting you compounded interest. So 20,000 times 10%. That's how you can become, all of you all are getting the information to create, all of you all can become millionaires off the information I'm giving you. Especially if you don't spend and blow your money. All right, so we got insurance. How much time we got?
It's 4:45.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'll close on a couple more financial tips. All right. So you have, and if you want to leave, I mean, you're definitely free to go. You know, I know you guys got stuff to do, work and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, how to collect these.
Oh,
She don't want, she
You gonna
gonna
give her that today?
yeah. I mean, just leave them. I'll give them to her. Just leave them on the table.
Just ask.
I'm gonna just do like 5 more minutes. So therefore, everybody can leave it at the same time if you want to. So again, if you go to that legacytravelers.com, I'm on there. That's my group. You know, I have people in there to answer questions. I do like free mentorship through there and stuff like that. Post tips. So we got the insurance. So that's another way to increase money. The taxes. Now investing is different. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the differences. One of the less than ideal cash flow decisions is when people, how many people think saving is a great decision? Okay, now this is gonna shock you all. I'm against saving. I don't believe in it. Doesn't make sense, right? Let's think about it. If inflation is at 3% and I have $10,000, then I'm losing 3% every year. Now, I'm not against investing. So one of the things that I like to invest in that is like an emergency fund, that I didn't tell the last class this, a lot of people say, well, where do I put my money if I might need it and I don't want to put it into long-term savings? What's that in between? I didn't learn this until I was 32 years old. My mentor shared with me a thing called municipal bonds. Y'all know what municipal bonds are? Municipal bonds are bonds that are as debt that's given to state or local institutions like hospitals, schools, stuff like that. If you invest in those, the percentages sometimes are a little lower, but it's kind of consistent. And then when you do that, there's some municipal bonds, you have to do your research and check this out, or in the group, just post. I have a lot of mentors in there. And what can happen is a lot of times municipal bonds can be at your bank and you can write checks off of it. But you can get interest like 3%, 4%, 5% on a municipal bond. So you can be investing at the rate of inflation for that 6 months of your living expenses, or at least $1,500 to $2,000, just in case stuff happens. That's the account we like to call that. Now your long-term investments, a lot of people like to go with wholesale. So you guys know the difference between wholesale and retail, right? You business owners, right? I mean, business. So it's like getting a purse from Macy's or getting a purse from China. Banks are financial product sellers. They don't love you. They don't care about you. They're not your family. Okay. I don't put my money in a bank long-term because they don't give any return. What if you could go where the banks go to get you 10, 12, sometimes more of a percent? That'd be pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I want you all to Google and just start reading videos on a company called Vanguard. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a money manager. So I want you to just see the cycle. Money manager, Vanguard, T. Rowe Price is a bunch. You can select which one you want to. All I'm telling you to do is Google it. If you read that book I told you about, Tony Robbins, Mastering the Game, he talks about Vanguard. He interviews the owner of Vanguard.
You need at least 3 brands to invest in Vanguard?
It depends. Let's say you do. It's different types, but that's a question that you would have to ask them. But let's say you do. Now, before you get your first job, you know what? You need $3,000, right? Before you get your car, you equate that first. That's the thing I was saying I want to come back to. You equate how much do I need to invest? Then I go shopping for my apartment or my house or my car. Most people, they don't do this. This is what the wealthy families do. Their kids don't go out and say, oh, well, I got a job. Let me go and spend, and I can afford it. I can spend half of my check. My first check goes to my house. The rest goes to my car, and then I can do the rest for turning up. Now I don't have anything left. It's like, no, my investment, I need $3,000. So you may say your first 3 months, you stay at a friend's house. You sleep on somebody's couch. You're making $50,000 staying in somebody's house because your mindset is different. My asset allocation is I live off 10%, donate 10%, and invest 80%. So my spending habits are different. I'm not even fully there yet. That's my goal. I got that from my mentor. My mentor did that, and he struggled for a while, but he's now worth $560 million. That's worth more than Jay-Z. He lives in Dubai. I got pictures of he and I in the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. And he's the one that I've never even heard of that before then. I never heard of thinking that way. I heard invest 10%, right? 50. But think about it. Who told you to do that? The people that want you to stay on the plantation. So if you say I need to invest 50% for 5 years so I can never have to work, you won't be hanging out with your friends. You won't be buying the pina coladas at, Fridays with everybody. You might be, turning up at the house before you go. Y'all know how that works, right? So I'm saying you might have to do things a little different, but you have a different mindset of what your success looks like. Do not be the $50,000 millionaire, which means you just borrow and you make this fake lifestyle so you can feel good about being around certain people. You got to be honest with yourselves. So what I want you all to do is to give yourself a report card. It's your homework assignment. I want you to look at your financial situation and give yourself an A to F rating. Your personal, spiritual, your relationships, intimate relationships, and friendships, your schoolwork. And then I want you to do it again come January. Then again, every quarter. Have a resolution every quarter. Business owners run in quarters, not in months, not in years. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people go from having a job to entrepreneurship and fail, because their mind is saying, I need to make this amount of money every month. You can I'll give you one quick example and I'm gonna leave you be. This is just gonna mess your head up. So we spoke, and every year we have our event. We make the majority of our income in one day for the whole year. Okay, because we have one major event. But think about it like this. I walk by, how many of y'all saw those Halloween pop-up stores? Where they sell costumes and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For about 2 months. They make between $75,000 and $200,000 in 2 months. And then they just chill the rest of the year. And wait, guess what? Halloween is coming every year. Now, it takes a little bit to get to a store like that, but you don't have to make your money every month, because when you're building a business, it doesn't work that way. So you may make $10,000 in 1 month. That might have to last you for 3 more months as you build, or you can make 100 grand in a day, 100 grand in a couple weeks. Just change your way of thinking, and you start looking at things differently, and looking at opportunities differently. And therefore, you don't have to say, well, money, you know, month after month, month after month. Okay? So I could go on forever, but I won't. So I want to bring you lovely, lovely professor, your lovely professor who turned up with us in Africa. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Hopefully you all learned some stuff. Thank you all for listening. I mean, this is one thing I want to leave you all with. Make sure you pay it forward. Take some of the stuff I've told you. Tell other people. As you create your successes, help other people. And it's not just your peers you help people, you know, above you, and help children that are below you. So live with that type of energy, and the blessings will come fruitful. So thank you all for allowing me to speak to you all.
Thank you. So one, I want to appreciate, or I'm appreciative that you all stayed a little bit later, but I know when there's knowledge to get, people stay, right? And so
come in, because you're like a ghost to the.
Oh, am I? Hey,
Yeah.
everybody. What's up?
She said she hit it
I'm
with the
Dr.
pose though. You're Epicurean.
So, like I said, I just wanted to thank you guys for being so attentive and being so engaging. I just wanted to thank you as my friend and fellow FAMU alum and fellow SBI superstar for coming and sharing your knowledge with the students, because if we don't know each other, who will, right? And he drove 8 hours up just to come here and be able to do this with you guys. So like you said earlier, when you talk about philanthropy and what it means to give time, there are people making the investment for you, but I just need you all to commit to making the investment in yourselves and to others as well. All right, so have a good Thanksgiving.
Can y'all say hello to the people watching? Did y'all, was it better than what y'all expected? Yeah. Expected that buzz. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, let me get those.